Rodrigo Souto Souza. Welcome to the second part of the interview with Dr. Rodney B. Jackson. If you hadn't watched the first part yet, just check back on our channel to watch the first part of this extraordinary interview. This is something that I have already mentioned in one of my videos, but I would love to hear your thoughts about this. Recently I read an article that listed 31 types of coaching. The most common, like life coaching, business coaching, leadership coaching. But I also found some very interesting ones like intimacy coaching. I wonder what that is. Somatic coaching, self-love coaching, and the list goes on.
Mm-hmm.
Many professionals criticize the coaching profession because nowadays, due to the great number of people who call themselves coach and use the term coach for everything. And also there are some motivational coaches that do things like this. Okay, watch this video.
Oh, wow. Well motivated.
So my question for you is, how can a professional coach who genuinely wants to help people avoid comparisons with professionals that actually damage the image of serious coaches?
Yeah. Well, one of the things, and let me just put this fact on the table, that number one, coaching is an unregulated industry. And what I mean by that, it doesn't need any state approval. It doesn't have any requirements for how you can become a coach, you know. So right now there's a state that anyone can say that they're a coach. It doesn't matter whether they went to school or got into any type of certification program. So to recognize great coaches from those coaches who just say they're a coach is that great coaches have a theoretical framework that they operate out of. So coaching is grounded in theory, that there's a factual observation of this event called coaching that's been watched over and over and over, and that's been formulated into a theory based upon empirical evidence. And I think that when you look at the motivation that you showed me, there is a theory behind everything. There's a science, you know, because you look at it, get you hyped up. Where from neuroscience, it talks about, you know, releasing the endorphins, you know, that once you release them, you get pumped up, working out. The brain releases that chemical to produce the state of excitement to motivate you that you can do anything. But great coaches produce results. And those results come from careful application of the theory to what they do.
What would you suggest for someone who is looking for a coach? Should they be looking at this professional background, their experience?
I think that they, you know, should look at their background, look at their training, look at their investment in their educational journey.
Yes.
That's important, you know, because you want someone who's going to coach you who has an understanding of this journey of change and transformation, who is modeling that type of transformation that they are looking for. One thing we say in organizational psychology, in order to bring about organizational change, you got to find a healthy model. So you want to find a healthy model of your idea of where you want to be in life and what you want to accomplish. So you want to make sure you do some research. Because to make that financial investment, you definitely want to make sure you get a return on your investment.
Another question that I have here is, uh, many people, especially after the pandemic started, they have lost family, they have lost their jobs, and all that triggers anxiety, depression. In other words, they lose hope. In Brazil, the situation is currently much worse than here in the United States. Is there anything that we can do to help us overcome these difficult times?
As you raise that question, I think about Viktor Frankl, who wrote a book, a very powerful book, Man's Search for Meaning. And in that book, he answered the question that man have been searching throughout eternity. What is the meaning of life? And it's a very powerful book because Viktor Frankl was in 4 German concentration camps and he survived. He lost his family, and the most horrendous thing that could happen to a person happened to him. He saw friends, those around him, dying, going to the gas chamber. But in that book, he talks about the power of hope, that when he would encourage other friends that was in the concentration camp, when they lost someone, he said, you're obligated to live for them and not to give up hope. Because this moment right now is not going to last forever. Yeah. But if you can hold on to your hope, it can change in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye. So Viktor Frankl survived the concentration camp, and out of that experience, he developed the therapy that he used to help millions of people all around the world, which was Logos therapy. Mm-hmm. So it's the ability to recognize and hold on to your hope. And one of the things I have learned to do in my own life is ask myself this question: what is this moment in my life prepare me for in my future?
It seems, in theory, actually, I had a good professor that told me once, I never forgot, that there's nothing more practical than a good theory. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never forgot that. But anyway, some people find it very difficult to put all these thoughts in order to achieve a goal. Even in those difficult times, they cannot see the way out. Can a professional coaching, for example, help someone to go
Definitely
through this moment?
Yeah, definitely. And the thing of it is, and I think here, Rodney, I have to explain exactly what is coaching. Coaching is not telling you what to do or how to do it. A coach asks questions, powerful questions, to make you look inward to find the answer. Because as a coach, we start with this premise that we believe that the individual has the potential to change his situation. And all the coach does is just ask the powerful question that facilitate the conversation.
Okay, Dr. Jackson, now I have some personal questions for you, all right? The first one is, if you were not a coach, if you were not an educator, if you had decided to do something else, what would it be?
To answer that question for me, I think that if I was not a educator, a leadership consultant, or a coach, I think that I would have liked to have been a neuroscientist.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that is great.
Because I'm so fascinated by this 3-pound object inside our skull.
All right.
and the untapped potential that is there, and just to figure out the awesomeness of the brain, the mind, you know, and how it works.
That is very interesting. Okay, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Well, another question. 100 years from now,
Wow.
when your great grandchildren look back and say, hey, great grandpa Jackson, who was Dr. Jackson? How can we answer this question many years from now?
I think that I would want my grandkids and to say in my legacy to be that Rodney B. Jackson tried to inspire every individual that came across his path that he or she could live out their potential to not only change their life, but to change the lives of those around them. Wow. That's who I would want them to say that their great-grandfather was, who he was a person that he never saw anyone that did not have unlimited potential to do something great.
Dr. Jackson, what are your final thoughts?
I guess I would like to tell, even in the midst of this pandemic, there are opportunities and new ideas and new businesses that are being developed. And that regardless of where you are and regardless of what's your situation in life, don't give up hope. You have untapped potential within you to not only prosper but to thrive in the midst of this pandemic. And for those that you have lost and loved ones that have transitioned, live for them. Live for them. Let your life be a living demonstration of the impact of their life on you. And that don't give up hope. Hope is a very powerful force to help you keep moving forward and getting up every morning and trying it again. And one morning when you get up and you try it again, that's when the miracle will happen. So that's what I would like to say to everyone out there.
Dr. Jackson, thank you. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And all this information is very, very valuable. We really appreciate that. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So this is it. Thank you so much, guys, for being with us here today. And remember, leadership is part of our lives. I'm Rodrigo Souto Souza, and see you in my next video.